Relatively new pairing of Hannah Mills and Saskia Clark. How did you get involved with working with the girls?
I suppose I have been in a role of a coach for Hannah and Saskia individually before they teamed up together. So I actually coached Hannah on and off since she was about 15 years old, and I went to the Youth World Championships with her as a coach. And then before Hannah started to stay with Saskia, I was coaching Sarah Ayton and Saskia Clark. So it was a sort of a natural progression, I suppose, that when they started together, once they qualified and they had a choice of who coached them, then I came and coached them.
So did they approach you?
Yes, so they approached me and asked if I'd be interested in coming and coaching them. And yeah, it feels great to be coaching them, and really glad to sort of be part of their team and building with them towards the games.
I imagine it's quite flattering when they say, "No, we want you."
Yeah, no, it is flattering. Yeah, it is flattering. I mean, they're very good sailors, and it's nice to be asked, and it's really great being part of the team. And I think we work well together. I think we're a good three, and we'll bring something a bit different. And I think there's a good sort of respect. I respect them both a lot for their ability and their sort of attitude towards their campaign, and I think they respect what I bring, which means that I can be hard on them when I need to be hard, and they'll take it and they'll listen to what I have to say.
So what are the dynamics of the girls? How would you describe each of them?
Well, firstly, if you're to describe them as a pair, I think I'd be surprised if there's a team that's stronger in terms of how much they support each other, they back each other, they get on really well, and they got sort of a great sort of camaraderie and sense of humour. Individually, I think Saskia's a very level, composed person, and she's very objective, and it's rare that you see her flustered. So I think she brings a real sort of calmness to the boat and objectivity, and so she's a sort of very valuable asset when something goes wrong in a race or halfway through an event to keep going just the same each day. I think that's a real strength of hers. And I think also she's just a very good 470 sailor. I think she's probably the best 470 crew in terms of her movement around the boat and how she sails the boat. Hannah is very sharp tactically, boat on boat, and she's a very talented sailor. You know, she's got a real sort of hunger to win and intensity that sort of is always looking to improve and looking to search for the next thing. So that combination of that sort of big picture calmness and that sort of intensity that Hannah has, it works really well. Then whilst we're on the water, my role as their coach is very much to have that big picture perspective, that I can sort of watch the whole race and how it unfolds, and just offer them in between the races a few key points that might help them for the next race. And then again, when we get in, we'll have a debrief and talk about what we could do better and what was good, what we want to keep.
How important is it for the girls to have both physical and mental toughness sort of in an Olympic regatta situation?
I think the physical and mental toughness is essential. You know, I think you have to, in order to win an Olympic medal, they need to their skills need to be a really high level. But then ultimately, it's about executing those skills in a high pressure environment. So once those skills are up to a good enough level to win a medal, to win a gold, then it's about having being physically ready to do that, and mentally able to cope with the sort of pressure, distractions, expectations of the people around them and things.
Do you think, having been at an Olympics yourself, you can sort of help them deal with that, maybe the excitement that comes with an Olympic regatta? Do you think you're sort of a calming influence, because you can sort of go, well, come on, it's just another race?
I think I am a calming influence, and I think it does help that I've competed at the Olympics a sort of number of times before. Ultimately, it will come down to them, and their ability to do that, which I actually have got a lot of confidence in. But I think because of the relationship we have, and because we sort of are a sort of good team, I think they can take. So they listen to some of my experiences, and they listen to my observations of them, and I think that does help them prepare.
We've spoken to some other coaches, and they've said, that really you then become a team of three, that the actual team is the three of you. Are you like that with the girls? It's the three of you?
Well, I am, but I guess that's my perspective as a coach. I don't know whether they'd say that as sailors. I think ultimately you can't race the race for them. When they sail well in a race, it's down to their decisions and the way that they sailed the boat. But I think certainly in the way we prepare and the support they get from me, I think it is a team of three. But I think if I think back to my experience as a sailor, I think for me it was always a team of three with our coach, and that was a very important relationship, particularly when we're at big regattas like the Olympic Games or the World Championships, because you get a lot of your routine from that, and if the coach knows you well, then you've got a sort of a common language, and they'll recognise things in your behaviour that are either not there and need to be there in order for them to get the best out of themselves.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the 470? What's it like as a boat? What's difficult on it? What kind of conditions best suit it?
I think the 470 is a boat where you need to have a good balance of skills. The boat handling is not that hard, but there's still gains there if you do it really well. It's very sensitive to how you set up the sails and the mast, with a lot of controls that are led to the helm. So the helm needs to be very accurate with how they use those. But that also means that the helm's head is in the boat quite a lot. So they then need the crew to be their sort of eyes outside the boat, and really a good communicator at sort of painting the picture of what's going on outside the boat. And I think technique-wise as well, 470 is because it's quite a light boat, essentially quite a small boat for two people. The technique is really important, the kinetics of the energy you put through the boat. So it's a boat that rewards a sort of a very mixed skilled sailor, skilled in different areas, and it's hard to stay consistent in it. It's very close racing. Mm-hmm. I think their biggest challenge is just to concentrate on what they need to do, and not worry about their opposition too much, and just concentrate on reaching that sort of vision of where they want to be for the Olympics. I don't think there's only one specific area that's a challenge. I think it's just really being focused on really doing the same as what you do in training under pressure, and really just staying focused on what they need to do.
Obviously, the games that you went to, you had to sort of do a bit of globe-trotting to get to them. How do you think whether the games being here in the UK are going to be a help or a hindrance to the sailors, and particularly to Hannah and Saskia?
I think having the games here, it just throws up some unique challenges, I suppose, from the point of view that we've got unlimited access really to the venue. Hannah and Saskia live down the road, so all the positives and negatives that go along with that apply. It means that there's a huge benefit in that we can get really good hours on the water, and we can pick and choose which days we do. Whilst if you take China for an example, we go there for a 2-week training camp, and we had to train in whatever conditions were there at the time, and we might not have got the condition that we wanted. Whilst here we can literally look at a weather forecast and think, oh, we want some light wind sailing, let's go and today and not tomorrow, and so we can pick and choose, so there's more flexibility to the programme. I think the negative, or the challenge probably is a better word of putting it, is still making sure the time's really intense and really effective, and also making sure time off from sailing is definitely time off, and just because you live at the Olympic venue, it doesn't end up being something that you're still involved in.
There's been a bit of controversy around the medal race course and being right close to the shore and everything. Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I don't. No. I don't mind. I think as long as the race committee are good and they can put it in a place where it's a fair race, so as in you can still see what wind's coming down, and it's still of a length race where it's not just done on one lucky shift. There's time in that race. I don't mind. It's the same for everyone. You just prepare for it and
give it a go.
Give it a go, exactly.
Yeah. What sort of do you ever find yourself where maybe the girls have come in from the water and thought, really not happy with what's gone on today? How do you sort of motivate them or sort of get them through that period? Is it just a group thing?
I think it's rare that the girls need motivating. I think it's more that they need, sometimes it's when they have had a bad day, either training, and they don't have the answers. They don't feel like they know what was wrong, and I think that's where I can offer a different perspective and more importantly an outside perspective, and we can talk through those points. They won't always agree, but we can, as long as it's sort of backed up with rationale and reasoning, then we can sort of discuss it and decide what we need to do about it, if anything.
And what was the transition like for you from coming from being a competitive sailor yourself to being a coach? Sort of, how different is it, and are you enjoying being a coach?
Yeah, I really like being a coach. I think coaching's much more rewarding when you're working on a project rather than doing something as a one-off. And so I think for me, coaching Hannah and Saskia that's the most enjoyable way to coach, because you're working with a really committed team, really talented, and a team that are working hard towards a goal, a shared goal. And so it very much, I end up approaching it in a very similar way than I did with my sailing. I'm quite sort of intense. I think about it a lot. I think about the direction we're going in, and what we need to do next all the time, and so in that respect there's a lot of similarities. For me personally, changing from a sailor to a coach, for me is a very slow change, because actually I used to coach a lot to help sort of supplement my sailing in terms of income. So actually when I was coaching Hannah when she was a youth, that was when I was a sailor, so actually it was a sort of gradual transition. Sometimes I miss sailing, but not very often.
So do you envisage, do you see yourself coaching another team, or maybe Hannah and Saskia into Rio 2016?
To be honest, I really haven't thought about it very much, and I think the build-up to the Olympics is so consuming in terms of your energy and thought, and ultimately that's where the outcome that's where the result of that will affect probably how you feel about what you want to go on and do afterwards. So I don't even bother trying to think about it too much until afterwards.
Do you have a proudest moment so far as a coach?
Yeah, I think I do. I think one thing I've really noticed coaching compared to sailing is you feel proud or rewarded by the process rather than the end result. And I think so when I watch the girls sail in a certain way and sail the boat well and tactically well, that's when I sort of feel proud to be a part of that. And I think think at the Worlds in May, that was a good moment for me and they won the World Championships, but it wasn't actually that they won, it was actually the way they were sailing that I thought that they're really on track for the Olympics and they're really sailing the boat well.
Is that quite a satisfying feeling?
It's satisfying. It's nice to be a part of. I mean, I know it's not me that's doing it, but it's still nice to be a part of that team.